YouTube. I just thought, I haven't done one of these for a little while, is I would do a August and October. Let's see if we got that right. There we go. SQL Pool Roundup. So just some of the new stuff that's come out on SQL Pool in the last couple of months. Now, it's actually not a lot to cover, but the headlines don't look very big, but there's quite a lot of detail. So the first thing is inline table value functions. Now, I haven't seen personally people screaming out for this functionality before. I've only really seen it when people have been doing migrations from SQL or Oracle, where you have this functionality and it's not been available in the SQL Pool or SQL Data Warehouse before, but it's pretty cool. And I've got a little demo that we might put in and show you. Then there is also the merge command. Now, this has been something that's been outstanding and people have been after this for a very long time. So I'm just going to click on here. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of things just so you're aware of. So merge in the SQL Pool is not exactly the same as merges in SQL Server. Now you've got to be a bit careful with this documentation. So if we go down, what you'll see is there's the syntax for using it in the normal SQL Server and SQL DB. And we also have this bit here, which is the syntax for it says Azure Synapse Analytics, but we'll call it SQL Pool, SQL Data Warehouse, so just for the data warehouse part. And you'll see that this is a lot shorter than this. Now, the bit that I got caught out on is there's no output clause. So when I was doing it and I was trying to make it work, I was trying to do a type 2 slowly changing dimension all with merge. Couldn't do it because there is no output in SQL Pool. So there's no output from inserts, there's no output from deletes, which is why it's not supported in merge. But just to be aware that if you're expecting it to be identical, it isn't. Right, let's go back. And now we're going to go back to August. This is stuff that I was going to cover but completely forgot about it. So let's have a look at, so a little while ago in the SQL Data Warehouse, SQL Pool world, the ability to do more than just assign resource groups, static resource groups or dynamic resource groups to a query changed significantly. So this workload management functionality sort of crept in slowly, the ability to set priorities on queries, and now the ability to classify queries coming in and put them into different workload groups depending on different times of day and some other criteria. So that's been in for a little while, but what we have now got is the ability to do it from the user interface, and people just skip over this. They just don't see it. So this is my data warehouse. Now we've got a new item, which is workload management here. So if I click on that, I can also see these are my workload groups would appear here, and I can choose add new workload group, and I can use the drop down to pick some standard ones, so custom ones. So I can say, right, that's ETL users, dashboards, ad hoc, and add a custom one. So this is the amount of resources a query is going to get, each query that comes in. So I can change that to be whatever I want it to be. I can change these. And so these are the groups. And if I want to configure how to add users to groups, I do it from clicking here to save it first. And now these are enabled. I can then click on it, and then I can then say, this would be a classifier for it. So the classifier is used to say which users or which users are coming in and how the importance. I can also classify based upon the label a query comes in under, and I can also set a start and end time. So I can have two classifiers for the same workload group that say if a query comes in, so for example, ETL query comes in and it's between 8 AM and 8 PM, it comes in and gets a small amount of the system. And if it then comes in between 8 PM and 8 AM, I can then give it a huge amount of the system. just based upon some simple things in here. Now I'm going to go into huge detail on this. I'll probably do another session on workload management. But if you haven't seen it, you know, you can do it all from the GUI rather than just worrying about writing scripts. Okay, so let's go back to, there was one more thing. There's two more things I want to cover. This improve table mappings catalog. This is just a performance thing that was put in. So if I now switch to, if I now switch to Management Studio. So here's a query I've just used. I've used the PW permanent table mappings for a particular object ID. So for this table, giving me all the tables that map to it. Now, obviously, as you're all aware, and I hope you are, that when you create a table in the SQL pool, you're actually creating 60 tables. It's one table on each of the 60 distributions. So, and you could do this before, but you had to use, I think, join at least 3 or 4 tables to do this. So it's just to save a bit of time. Now I'm going to throw in a little bonus feature. So we're going to go back to my machine. We'll just go on to, on the left-hand menu, under auditing, data discovery classification, which I love, data masking. Now, I don't know when we added this in. So there is a user interface to be able to set up data masking. Now, not particularly played with it, but for those who've done some data masking work, this is the first time I've seen a user interface over the top. So I can add masking without having to know what the scripts are. Just from the GUI, I can add it in. It makes my life so much easier. So that's a free bonus thing that was added in. Also, while we're talking about bonuses, if you want to know how to monitor your workload management, under metrics, happy to get rid of that. There we go. We've got all our normal basic metrics. And then when workload management was released, I think it was earlier in the year or even last year, but whenever we released it, we added in all these extra groups, extra things to monitor on. So if you want to know where they are, they're just under here. There you go. So if you hadn't seen them before, that's where they are. So that was it. That's all I wanted to do for a August and October roundup. All right, thanks for watching. All right, bye.